Solo leveling has become so widespread that it's almost shocking to meet someone who hasn't at least peeked at a single panel of the webtoon. You start with a guy so fragile a stiff breeze could take him out, and then follow him as he climbs to the top of the food chain armed with a mysterious system that's basically an overly strict personal trainer disguised as magical UI panels. The game treats the story like garnish. It's there, sure, but it's not the meal. Arise Overdrive focuses almost entirely on spectacle and conflict, trimming away the emotional layers that gave the original its heart. Moments that could have deepened the world fly by without development, and if you're someone who hasn't read the webtoon, the game won't slow down for you. It tosses you directly into the middle of everything with zero explanation, like showing up at a party where everyone already knows every inside joke. If you want clarity, the webtoon is still your best option. If you want flashy combat and customization, then yes, Arise Overdrive is where you'll find it. Once you step past the rushed story, you discover a game packed with systems stacked on top of systems. You get basic attacks, transformations, ultimates, passives, weapon swapping, support triggers, and custom skill tables that let you shape Sung Jinwoo into whatever kind of powerhouse your brain prefers. It's a hybrid between RPG convenience and console-style depth. The gear and upgrade systems look familiar if you've touched major games, but then Arise Overdrive throws in manual stat allocation and conditional skill interactions, which give the whole experience a surprising level of control and expression. You're not just powering up Jinwoo, you're sculpting him like an artist obsessed with damage numbers. All of this leads you straight into the real focus of the game, smashing through dungeons while unleashing some of the flashiest combat you'll see on PC. You dodge, chain combos, swap weapons mid-fight, and watch gigantic visual effects detonate across the screen. The combat is simple, but the pace is fast, and everything feels designed to make you feel strong even when you're still early in the game. The arena becomes your playground, and enemies become piñatas filled with XP and crafting materials. Your squad mates join the chaos too, although they behave more like enthusiastic interns than teammates. You can't control them, not even a little, and they only jump in when their specific conditions are met. Sometimes they save the day with a perfectly timed follow-up attack, and other times they decide to stare at you while you get ragdolled across the floor. Learning how each of them reacts becomes its own skill, because one mistimed trigger can turn a clean run into a tragic comedy very quickly. But while you're punching through dungeons, the presentation steps in to carry the vibe. Character models look fantastic, unless you're watching them in a cutscene, where they occasionally look like they were rendered on a toaster. Environments match the mood perfectly, whether it's a bleak cave or a sleek association lobby. The real eye candy, though, is in the effects. Every strike is exaggerated in the best way possible. Every ultimate feels like you've just rewritten the laws of physics, and the dynamic camera angles sell the intensity far better than expected. Audio helps too, with sound effects that hit like thunder and voice acting that gives every scene some weight. It's all great until the music shows up and decides it's going to do the bare minimum. Instead of evolving with the tension like in other action titles, most of the game's music loops the same beat from the start of the fights until the end. It's not bad music, but it doesn't rise or fall or shift with the action, which leaves fights feeling flatter than they should. Then comes the recruitment system, which might be the most unintentional comedy Arise Overdrive offers. Instead of unlocking hunters naturally through story progression, the game turns you into an anxious HR manager trying to hire employees while praying the accounting department doesn't find out how much you're spending. The negotiation mechanic has you choosing an upfront offer, judging their mood, checking their rank, and then rolling the dice. Sometimes you drop a mountain of cash on someone and they still reject you like you just asked them to work weekends for free. It's not gacha, but it somehow still manages to wound your soul in a very gacha-like way. This wouldn't be so bad if money flowed freely, but no, gold in this game is treated like a luxury commodity. You get it from practically everything, but always in quantity small enough to make you wonder if the game switched to minimum wage mode. Early on, you replay stages over and over just to scrounge enough gold to make a negotiation offer that doesn't feel embarrassing. At least your grind pays out with materials, gear, and upgrade items, but the money situation stays tight unless you really commit to the loop. And speaking of loops, Arise Overdrive's entire structure revolves around grinding. You push the story, hit a wall, grind dungeons, upgrade Jinwoo, grind more, and return to the story. It's serviceable, but the content outside this loop is surprisingly thin. There are minigames and tougher late-game missions, but nothing that expands the experience beyond farming and fighting. You really start feeling what's missing when you remember what made solo leveling special. The story's emotional backbone, the relationships, the personal struggles, the sense of connection with allies. Almost none of that made the jump. There are no bonding events, no social interactions, nothing that lets you build actual relationships with your hunters. They join your team, they help you fight, and that's about it. It's a strange disconnect that makes you feel less like a leader and more like someone throwing money at strangers to form a party. Add in bugs, characters disappearing, subtitles taking random vacations, and NPCs suddenly sprouting a second head like it's auditioning for a horror movie remake, and the experience becomes unintentionally chaotic. Sometimes even the audio freaks out, leaving voices echoing like someone left their mic in a bathroom. The menus could use more clarity too. Simple things like pointing you toward the hiring manager or letting you jump back to mode select instead of walking all the way back to the lobby would make life so much easier. But those options aren't there, so you end up spending extra time navigating menus that feel like a maze. So the big question, is it worth playing? If what you want is story, this game isn't where you'll find it. The emotional depth of the original isn't here. But if what you're after is fast, satisfying action, tons of build customization, flashy visuals, and a power fantasy that lets you feel absurdly strong, Arise Overdrive absolutely delivers. It's fun, stylish, and addictive. Just be ready for the grind, ready for your wallet of in-game currency to cry, and ready for occasional bugs that turn everything into a comedy skit. Solo leveling, Arise Overdrive succeeds in letting you live out the thrill of becoming overpowered, even if it forgets to bring the heart of the original series with it.